Hi. So, this should be an interesting live. I don't have any electricity. The power is out. It's been out for a couple of hours here. So the lighting is less than ideal. And I don't know where my microphone is. So we're just going to work with it. We're just going to work with what we've got. I'm looking around to see if I can find it anywhere, and I don't see it. So it's just going to be what it is. Wait for Alana to jump on the call and join us. Hope everyone's having a good Thursday. I see her in the call. There we go.
Hey.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just dealing with strange situations.
Yeah. No power.
No, our power's still out and my microphone is missing, so here we are.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
hope it sounds okay.
yeah, it's a little bit echoey, but should be fine. Florida misses you.
I miss Florida. Is it nice and sunny there?
Yeah, it's perfect weather. It's 77 degrees right now.
Oh man. It's
Yeah.
not 77 here and it's raining. So
Oh no. Yeah.
well. All right. Well, so for people tuning in and for those that are going to be watching this recording, I'm here with Alana Benito today, and she is also a dietitian. Gotta send love to our fellow RDs. But her specialty is really different than mine. So whereas I tend to take a plant-based approach in my practice and in my personal life, Alana's counseling is geared more towards the geriatric population and then people who have renal disease. So their diet has to look a little bit different than the diet that I promote. So we're here to talk about what that looks like. But first off, how has the coronavirus impacted you? Because you're also on the clinical side. So what's that like right now?
Yeah, so so thankful, I'm still able to go to work and not much has changed on that front. It's a little bit of a busier day. I'm doing some things out of my normal scope, my dietitian scope. I'm helping screen patients, like take temperatures, make sure they have masks on, make sure they don't have not only fevers, but ask them like a million questions about where they've been and if they have certain signs and symptoms. But and besides that, our census is actually down a little because we're not able to accept visitors, and in Florida that's a huge thing. No one's vacationing, so not a lot of people are coming here. Both of my clinics are by the beach, so a little bit of a lower census, but also making sure that the patients that we have, making sure they still have access to plenty of food, making sure they have someone to help them grocery shop, and if they don't, maybe helping them figure out how to use the delivery systems so that they don't have to go into the grocery store since they are so immunocompromised.
Yeah, so are you guys still getting a lot of delivery times there? Because up here, it's really hard to find a delivery time.
Yeah, I know I don't personally use it, but my patients who have been using it, they're like, yeah, you have to order 3 days ahead of time and definitely be prepared and then order for like a week and a half, 2 weeks if you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into this a little later, but it's hard because there's this shortage of eggs and meat, which are things that my patients really need to eat. So that's been a little difficult for them.
Yeah, perfect transition. So why is that such a different world than like what my population's used to?
Yeah, so when
Without
someone
going
has
crazy in it.
no. When someone has end stage kidney disease, they have they probably have several other comorbidities. It could be genetic, the reason that their kidneys failed, or it could be diabetes related, high blood pressure related, and a bunch of other reasons. But when the kidneys fail, a higher amount of protein is required for them to take in, because when they're on dialysis, whether it be in the center or at home, they burn a lot of calories, and also, unfortunately, a lot of protein is leaked out through the dialysis machine. So they need to make up for this in order to make up for the loss in order to make sure they maintain their muscle mass and also help them heal if they are experiencing other issues.
Gotcha. But there's a point too that you would want to limit protein, right? Or did I remember that incorrectly?
Oh, well, correct. So chronic kidney disease stage 1 through 4, you want to limit protein.
Okay.
So in those stages, actually adopting more of a plant-based diet would be helpful. So when I do my consultations for patients who are pre-dialysis, I tend to be like, okay, be extra careful with your protein, get a scale, measure it, so we make sure you're not getting too much. And it might be a good idea to switch to plant-based proteins, beans and all that kind of, and nuts and everything, because you want to preserve the kidney function. And protein is a huge molecule to break down, so then that can lead to further kidney damage if they are having too much protein. So those are pre-dialysis patients.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's neat because I don't think a lot of people know that dietitians have this like wide range of topics and specialties that they can go into. It's really different than other areas of healthcare where you sort of like focus on one particular thing. I guess nurses are similar because you can have your specialty and branch off from there. But what's your personal story of coming to be a dietitian? Like,
Yeah,
where you went
so
to school and all of that.
yeah, well, I don't know if I actually ever told you this, but when I was a teenager, I had like something similar to gout, but it wasn't gout. I couldn't figure it out. And the only thing that would help is a change in my diet. So I started I can't eat red meat anymore. So I have to eat more of a plant-based diet myself, which makes it extra hard when I have to tell my patients now to eat meat. Because on the inside, I'm like, no, it's bad for the planet. It's bad for the planet. It's bad for most people. But for you guys, you need to eat meat. So it's kind of a little bit of a contradiction in my soul, but the science is there. So anyways, so then I got interested in nutrition. I went to University of Connecticut and got my bachelor's degree. And then I moved to Florida to do my year-long internship. And I never left. And then I went to get my master's in my MBA, my master's in business administration. So I could dabble in some other things on the side.
Yeah. Well, tell us about those other things. What are you dabbling in?
So I guess the dietitian related things, I contract with a pharmaceutical company and I travel wherever they want me to and do talks for them. So to other healthcare professionals. And it's a medication that a lot of dialysis patients have to take to manage their certain blood levels. And then I also started my business and do some consulting on the side, and then for pre-dialysis patients. But mainly I go into nursing homes and help, I'm like a subcontractor, and I help fill vacancies and things like that. Because that's where I started, is with geriatric long-term care nutrition. And then I had a lot of dialysis patients. And I really liked how much a dietitian could help, was needed in that, for that patient. So then I transitioned over to the dialysis company.
Yeah. So, well, have you seen in your personal business, private practice, have you seen an uptake in consults from the elderly population? I feel like that's an area that we should be marketing to right now because their immune health is so important. And that's a population that probably is less impacted by like the financial side of this if they are receiving money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Retirement.
I hate to say it, but like what you said would make complete sense. But I think a lot of people right now, they're kind of in hunker down mode just focused on basic necessities and not necessarily doing what might be best for their health in the long run right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't seen many people reaching out for pre-dialysis
Okay.
consulting. Yeah.
That's a shame. I feel like that would be so important, like,
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, yes, we are in Florida, or I'm in Florida, so we do have a lot of older people. And then when your kidneys start to fail and you have chronic kidney disease stage 3, you tend to be older.
hold that thought. Sorry.
Are those the cats?
Unfortunately, yes.
What are they doing? Fighting? That's
Yeah,
funny.
they're chasing each other around the house, and they started fighting.
Children.
Our fur babies.
Yeah.
Had to break it up. Hey, Arthur.
That's funny.
See, Arthur just
So I know you could just come in here and join Actually Live. No. So what was I saying? Yeah, so there are a lot of middle-aged people and even younger who end up having chronic kidney disease. So then it becomes more of a financial insurance issue. So, I mean, I know you know this, private practice, when you don't accept insurance, which I don't, then it's kind of a little bit of an uphill battle sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
tough. So, what are you, if people wanted to find out where you were and how to work with you and stuff like that, are you active on social media? Can they find you that way? What would you suggest?
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is Full Scope Nutrition. So you can send me a message there if you wanted. I mainly focus on chronic kidney disease. Maybe you have a relative that needs help or someone you know, because when you have chronic kidney disease, pre-dialysis, it's super beneficial to talk to a dietitian to help
For sure.
stay in the stage you are now in slow progression versus continuing progressing at the current rate and then end up on dialysis. Because you will have a dietitian once you're on dialysis, but you want to prevent that.
Yeah. And even what you were saying earlier about the difference between the first couple of stages where your protein requirements are different than end stage, I don't think many people can navigate that on their own. I think that's something, and plus all of the other nutrients, macronutrients, micronutrients that they would need to watch. That's really tough to do on your own. It's tough even as a diet, like I couldn't be thrown into that world and know what I'm doing because I haven't done any of that since the internship. So it's important that people find someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. You can't just go to, your gym and talk to a trainer about this kind of thing. And it's actually super dangerous if you do something like that, because if you're eating too much protein or too much potassium, too much phosphorus, you're just making your kidneys fail faster, potentially. And there's fluid requirements, blood pressure, diabetes management, and dietitians work really closely with doctors in terms of medications that patients take pre-dialysis and when they are on dialysis, especially too. So that's another thing I like about working with kidneys, is because I'm not only dealing with food, but I also have a little bit of an influence as far as medications and things like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Are you doing in your private practice, are you still taking on any of like the elderly population as clients, or are you strictly sticking to kidney disease?
I do both, but I mainly find that most people that are coming to me are for kidney disease.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious, because if people are watching this and they think like I have a grandparent or a relative that could benefit just from general nutrition counseling, but with someone who understands the unique needs of the geriatric population, if that's something that they could maybe reach out to you for.
Yeah, definitely. Because like I said earlier, I still do go into long-term care rehab units. And really at that point, the goal is making sure people aren't losing weight and then helping them heal if they have any conditions or wounds or something like that. So definitely both sides, kidneys and keeping weight on people.
Perfect. Keeping
That's
people
my
healthy.
thing. Yes.
Yeah. What do you like to do in your spare time? I know it's a little different now because we're stuck at home for the most part, but Florida's opening up some places, right?
Yeah, I probably won't go to any of those places, but
Probably a safe
yeah,
bet.
definitely. And especially working in healthcare, you not only have to think about yourself, but then your patients. Because if I'm out, going to the bar or restaurant or whatever, and then I pick up something, I might not have it. I might not feel it and have symptoms, but then if I pass it on to my patient, even though we're wearing masks, but you know how that is, then
Yeah.
I would feel awful. So I'm
God,
gonna
that's
stay
such a
home.
good point. That is such a
Yeah.
good point to remember. Like for anybody going out still, not even someone working in healthcare, that you don't know what you're picking up. All along, that's been the concern, but especially as places start to reopen and we feel like we have a little bit more freedom, you still have to be really careful. You never know what you're picking up. And just because you're feeling great doesn't mean that you're not carrying something that's going to be then spread to anybody vulnerable. I mean, it could be a family member or it could be a total stranger. So
Yeah,
good lesson.
exactly.
But what do you like to do for fun outside of COVID?
Yeah, so right now I've been baking more. I feel like everyone has. I tried to get yeast at the grocery store because I want to start making my own bread, and it's sold out. Target, Publix, everywhere.
Really?
So,
I haven't even looked for
yeah,
it to know that.
everyone is trying to become like their own version of like pioneer woman or whatever.
Ah, I
But
can do all the things.
yeah, I made what I make the other day, super random, coleslaw. Like who makes coleslaw? That's from scratch. No, I
I
did.
did just tell a client today, though, that they should be trying to make sauerkraut from scratch. And there's
Oh yeah.
recipes that are not very difficult, and it's just like a few. So I do food sensitivity testing too, and this one patient can have like cabbage and certain other vegetables. And I'm like, why don't you try to make your own sauerkraut? Because it's good probiotics anyway. And she's like, that
Yeah.
seems scary. I'm like, here's the easiest recipe ever: white
Yeah.
vinegar and some veggies. So I might try that myself.
Yeah, I've made that before and yeah, it's super easy. You don't need like it's not like kombucha. Remember when we used to make kombucha? Not going back to that. Nope.
No, I have that jar and I forgot what that jar was from when we were packing to move. And I'm like, why do I have this big jar with no lid? It's so useless at this point. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, when I make
Yeah.
pumpkin, that stuff
Yeah.
smells.
Yeah. Never tastes as good as GT's. So I'll just buy it.
There's a secret that GTs must have that they're not sharing with us.
Yeah.
So, well, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to that you feel might be useful?
No, just I thought this, is interesting, like from how I have to counsel my patients, some of my patients, to eat a lot of protein, eat a lot of meat, but then how I feel personally for the general health
Mm,
of the general population is more towards how you counsel. Less
yeah.
animal products, less meat. Again, I don't eat red meat at all, and just minimizing that, using it, if you do eat it, like using it as a flavor and not the main part of the meal.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm at work, I'm totally conflicted, but everyone needs something different, and that's why dietitians are so important.
It's funny because in my previous clinical role in working with genetic disorders and metabolic disorders, they talk a lot about the quality, the biological value of certain proteins. And, animal protein is touted as like the absolute best. High quality bioavailability is so much better than plant protein. And it's almost like looked down on to be a dietitian that's vegan or vegetarian to them. And so I would go to these conferences and tell people about this other business that I have. And they're like, do you get a lot of clients? Is there really a need for that? Like, how can you promote that? And I'm like, how are we still so behind
Yeah.
I mean, the science is there. It's just, I think, kind of maybe the older dietitian population that's like, they learned animal protein is, this gold
Yeah.
standard for protein. And now we know it's not true. But yeah, that is really
Yeah.
interesting and must be kind of difficult to counsel one way and have to
Yeah.
practice another.
Yeah. It's hard. That always charting about that HBV protein, the high biological value. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
feel you there. It's tough, but there's research on both sides, and we all have our specialties. So,
for sure.
yeah.
And we need all of the specialties, whether it's kidney disease or the genetic disorders. I think that's the biggest takeaway that people need to remember, is that there's a reason that these diets exist, and that no one diet is ever going to be a fit for everybody. That's why dietitians are so needed, because you can't say that what worked for even your brother or sister is going to be right for you. Everybody's biochemistry is different, and to navigate the world of enzymes and metabolism, I mean, how many years alone in school did we spend, you know? So you
Yeah,
really do need somebody who knows what they're talking about.
exactly.
Well, if people want to contact you, your Instagram is Full Scope Nutrition, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Or this one, my personal. I'm not that great at social media. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I make like so many delicious meals, and I'm like, oh, I should take a picture of this and upload it. And I'm like, nah, I'm just going to eat
I
it.
know.
So,
So, do you want to give your email maybe?
yeah, it is. It's Full Scope Nutrition FL, as in Florida,
Hmm.
at gmail.com.
Okay.
So,
So people can
yeah.
reach out there. And then if you have questions for Alana, or have questions about a family member, then get in touch with her, and then who knows what can happen. Maybe you'll end up collaborating together.
Yes.
So,
Perfect. Thank you.
well, yeah, thank you for coming on today. I'm jealous that you're in the sunny weather, but
I
hopefully
know. I'm going to go for a long walk right now.
enjoy.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.
Bye.